Got a warm one up here in Dan Murphy's car park again. I've done this once or twice. You can see I'm a bit of a habitual shopper here. Got the Jamesons, actually sent about $2 each, a bit higher than what I recall on the catalogue, but still cheap. You know, $38.90 as opposed to $36.90 for 700 mils. Pretty damn good for any whiskey, I'd say. And it's quite smooth considering its price. So it's just doing very well when I got it for the $2 less. But it's still very good value, and it's still better value buying it in the 700 mils bottles than the 1 litre bottles, which is insane, but it's okay. Yeah, a guy who served me, he scrunches up the bloody receipt with before even asking me if I wanted one or not. Just thought it was strange. So I had to go at gasket get it back off him. It's a strange way of doing business, but you know, look where I am. Yeah, I feel a bit of a fish out of water up here at the moment. I don't know what it is. Maybe just psychological. But, I'm really looking forward to going back to Southeast Asia, to be honest. I feel more at home there than anywhere else. More than in Australia, which is a weird thing. So, more of a community up in, say, in Saigon than here. It's the expat community, so sort of a bit more easy to crack, I think. I don't know what it is. I suppose when you're overseas you bond more. Okay, well these are the lights near Dan Murphy's, and unlike the useless pedestrian lights I have locally on Mulgrave Road, these ones actually seem to respond at a decent time frame. And I actually was over across the road. I would have got across the road okay, except there's one guy, that little laggard there. At least they're not crawling. A lot of the motorists here really drive slowly. Glenn thinks that's fabulous. The guy stayed up at my place last time. He likes it, but from a pedestrian's point of view, it can be quite annoying when you want to cross a road and you just want to really pass by. But anyway, it's probably safer, and they certainly drive slower in Vietnam for that reason. They have to, because there'd be just even if there's a lot of injuries on motorbikes, but there'd be a hell of a lot worse if they were travelling faster. And of course they do insane things like carry the most ridiculously heavy, bulky items on the back of a motorbike that no one in the West would even contemplate doing. So now I get on to my latest peeve. Actually, the bus has just arrived. It's amazing. Are they going? Oh, no, they're going past. I thought they're going to stop. Maybe didn't see me in time. I don't know. That would have been amazing. We've got to bust that quickly. The big bugbear I've got late, well, it just happened a couple of days ago, was with Body Corporate. I just got onto the committee, and I think I really alienated myself from the other committee members in just the first issue, which just happened to have come up on Thursday. I got an email from our Body Corporate manager, and she just said that there'd been some work done. I knew that there'd been a tradesman out working on cleaning the around where the compressors are on all the air cons, and also apparently been putting in spikes or something to stop birds going near there, leaving droppings, which obviously causes worse problems with corrosion, I guess, and other things. Anyway, he quoted apparently over 500, a little over 500 anyway for the job, and then they got an invoice back saying that he's charging the Body Corporate twice that amount. And I thought, gee, that's a bit rough. And I asked the question, you know, are we as a Body Corporate? I thought, well, you know, did he try to contact us to say that it would cost this much more than what he'd actually quoted before just proceeding with the job? And I didn't get an answer to that. And I also wondered where we stood legally regarding. I said, well, my position is I'm not happy paying double, and that I'd be maybe we can come up with sort of some compromise, because he said that apparently he sort of it was a lot more work than he expected, but he thought he'd soldier on and do a good job and just continue on with it. Well, I've always dealt with tradesmen. I never acted like that, mind you. I've never had a situation like that with a tradesman. I've always, if they quoted something, I got around that figure, and it wasn't much off. With the conveyancing recently, for instance, it was about $100 more, which is something you don't like, because you know they gave me a figure and they put it a little higher. But it's within reason. You know, it's just something that they can get away with. They know they can squeeze you a little further without any hassles. But double, I thought, was a bit excessive. So I said, look, I wondered where we stood legally on it, and that we should probably try for a compromise. Then I discover, to my shock, that this was an open email, and all the other members presumably could see what I'd written. And I must have alienated myself from all, because they all basically just rubber stamped the money and said, yeah, just pay it. And the other guy, the next one that came back, I think was the guy there who lives on, who's actually living in the block. I think he might have even been chatting to the tradesman doing the job. I'm not sure. He just said, look, the guy. He explained that he thought the guy did a really good job, and happy to pay the extra money. And so I felt like I'd really come down hard-ass, way too hard-ass. Although I still think it's reasonable for someone in a body corporate to question all the work that's done, but apparently everybody else thought, no, just pay it. And they got 3 replies saying just pay it, and I was the only dissenter, so I guess I'm persona non grata in the body corporates. It's not a great feeling. Another issue, believe it or not, came up the same night. And get this, I got an email at 8:20 at night, and so the woman working, who's the person looking after our block, she was presumably at the office until 8:30. And it was about a Foxtel charge. They had to go and inspect something, and of course it's going to cost a couple of $100. And I knew nothing about pay TV or Foxtel, but it was to do with our infrastructure, so I thought, well, I guess it's got to be checked out. And obviously it's a body corporate issue, so I said I had no issue with it. And she got back to me, I think with relief, because she was expecting me to come up with another few paragraphs asking her lots of questions and saying, well, should we do this or not? And I just, at this stage, I thought, look, I'm in the bad books with these people as it is. They're probably going to rubber stamp everything anyway, so what's the point? And it makes me think, so she was very happy and said, you know, have a great night and whatever, mainly because she'd expected me to basically come back and give her a hard time. And I didn't. I just said, no, just do it, just go with it, looks fine to me. To be honest, I know nothing about pay TV, never had it, so I wouldn't have a clue anyway. But so it just left me thinking, is there any point being in the body corporate if the other members are just going to rubber stamp stuff anyway? And the other thing is, I never expected this level of micromanagement. This never happened to me before. I was on a committee once before in the previous place I stayed at in Melbourne, and I was only for about a year or maybe even less. No, I think I was on for a year, and I only got a couple of issues sent through, but nothing to do with money. It was only to do with sort of whether someone could put a dish up on a certain level and what have you. I had to vote on that. And that came through the mail, I think, and then I needed to respond from it. But this happened all so quickly. And as I say, I had no idea that everybody else could see what I was writing. If they're not going to question, you know, bills or anything, well, why are they there? I guess there are other issues, but it's a bit of a worry to me anyway. And I've never encountered this before, and I can see why people don't have a very high opinion of body corporate. Maybe the mentality is, maybe it's a Queensland thing, or maybe just a general thing, that people just don't want to make waves. And unless it's an outrageous quote like tenfold or whatever, they're not going to say a thing. I don't know. Anyway, the bus is coming. So. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.